We'll kick things off in about one more minute. Hopefully people are trickling in, and I guess people will join as needed. But anyway, thanks for everyone joining us today. I've got Gail, who's one of my senior researchers, helping with technical things on my side. I'll introduce her a bit later in our slide presentation, but just for starters, we are recording this, and we understand that, it's Friday. Thanks for joining us. And if anyone has to skip out or whatever, we are recording this, and we'll send you an updated version of that. So if people need to skip out or do things, please do so. But we do appreciate everyone joining on this Friday. So yeah, for starters, today we do have. I'm going to try and make this as interactive as possible. We have a lot of slides, plus my video up at the top. And then we do have some videos to show you as well, and some samples of what we think, some of the companies that we're working with and some companies that we have relationships with are doing here in Japan, and also some just general trends in the recruiting market here that are happening. So, all right, so it looks like majority of the people are trickling in, so we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so again, thanks for everyone taking the time to join. I'm just gonna flip through some of our slides here. So today, really, I wanna cover, we're gonna try and knock things out in about 45 minutes, definitely less than an hour. And as I mentioned, I want to try and make this as interactive as possible. And we do have a lot of content to go through and those kind of things. Yeah, today's presentation basically is going to focus on introducing a little about Motionworks, what we do, some of our brands, some of the trends in Japan, particularly in the recruitment market that, have affected some of the reasons why I've kind of shifted over to employer branding and away from traditional recruiting. Then we're gonna step it up a bit, and you can watch some global videos of employer branding videos that we've selected for you today. And then we'll dive into some of the pain points or the challenges that a lot of companies face globally and also in Japan for related to employer branding and those kind of issues. Then I do want to show you some examples of some of the companies that we're working with, and some of the companies that we think are doing really a good job of really spearheading and getting the employer branding and talent attraction thing moving here in Japan. And very last one is we want to show you, companies, depending on what level you're at, really how to get started and get beyond the challenges of doing employer branding. So, okay, so for starters, I'm going to kick off with some of the charities that we're working on. So, this is COVID time, and everyone is kind of struggling in their own ways, and Motionworks we've made a conscious effort to help people just one by one. And this year, we're really putting our efforts towards helping Brent, who is a longtime HR professional and leadership trainer and coach here in Japan. And he's been going through quite a lot of health issues recently. And we are focusing on trying to help him and his family as much as possible. So, we do appreciate, while these events are free, we do appreciate you looking into his cause and giving any support you can to Brent and his family. All right, next, a little about us. So as I mentioned, Motionworks, a lot of people ask me, what you actually do. And a lot of times, sometimes that's difficult because we've had to pivot so much during COVID. But in general, I wanted to tell you a little about what we are, who we are and what we do. So there's myself, Gail, who's on the call today as well, who's a senior research associate with us, and Yuki and Dennis, who are videographers and video producers with us on various projects. So these are our four superheroes with all supernatural powers that help us on various projects. But in general, our main brands are Motionworks Media. So the company itself is Motionworks, but Motionworks Media is more focused on creating video content for companies, corporate videos or branding videos and those kind of things. Motionworks Careers is kind of our job portal for promoting some of the positions that we're working with for our companies, with the clients we're working with. Motionworks Learnings is still beta stage, but that's kind of, we're working with some companies to develop learning videos and training videos and those kind of things. And then Coffee for Closers series, which we haven't been doing recently, but that's one of the things that got us started in branding and employer branding is really a podcast and video podcast of highlighting people in Japan, basically influencers in Japan, but more particularly in the recruiting industry that are, the movers and the shakers of our industries. And in general, we've kind of shifted away from, I'll get into my motivators a bit later, but we, around 2018, I shifted away from the traditional model of recruiting and over into employer branding. So our main focus really with Motionworks brands are employer branding and media content, talent attraction, and helping companies find talent and manage search as well. All right, that's a little about us. So a little about me. Some of you know me, some of you maybe are just connected with me on LinkedIn, but I've been here in Japan for over 20 years now, and a majority of that time has been focused on HR consulting, training, hiring, and recruiting. And for me, I had some motivators to shift around 2018 or 19 to shift over to the employer branding side of things. And in the next slide, I'll kind of show you some of my motivators of why that's happened. But in general, yeah, I've been here in Japan for a long time, and so many things have changed, in the past 20 plus years. And my goal is really to help companies, find and retain good people, but highlight employer branding and talent attraction as much as possible. So. All right, this is kind of a timeline that I made, not so much in chronological order here, but some of you that are around my age probably know some of these. Some of you that are a bit younger probably only know from about the Lehman shock time. But yeah, these are key things that I think forced Japan to change, especially related to the recruiting industry. So you had in the 80s, the bubble economy. You had in the 90s, party's over, that ended. And then right around, the Lehman shock time was where I think, the recruiting industry in particular and recruitment in general took a big shift. So, there were so many companies that disappeared. They went out of business. Small companies and recruiting companies went out because of Lehman. And then what happened is I think a lot of companies, especially the recruiting agencies and recruiting in general, really streamlined how they did recruiting. And right around the same time, 2008 to maybe 10 or something, the mindset of lifetime employment just wasn't appealing anymore. So companies were kind of in a position to have new strategies and new directions, right? So, and the number of recruitment firms, increased after that. The economy got better, and that's why I really like being in Japan. I mean, it's a super competitive market, but there's always the ebb and flow, and the market is still really strong. But my main point of this infograph here is that we look at what happened back in 2008, and then we had a lot of things came out, right? Like we had Career Cross, Die Job, Recruit. I don't have all of the tools and of the trade that we have here, but that's pretty much all we had for a long time. So there was traditional headhunting and recruiting and, direct hire companies. The bigger ones were trying to do recruiting themselves. Agencies started increasing. And there was this constant battle of, the candidate market. And it really stayed, I think anyway, it's been very solid candidate driven market for, probably since 2015 with different spurts here and there. But, if you look at the tools that we've had for recruiting, we didn't have many before, but now, we've got a lot more moving ahead, right? So we've got the job boards, we got, Indeed, BizReach became popular a while back, and then Wantedly kind of pushed the branding envelope a bit. And then, for me, the biggest pivot was LinkedIn. So when Microsoft bought LinkedIn back in, what was it, 2016 or something like that, LinkedIn became less of a professional network platform and more of like a branding and marketing platform. And I just saw, a lot of videos and a lot more branding things come up after that merger happened. And, what happened was, it put a lot of more pressure on companies and recruiting agencies to, go after the right type of candidates and how you do that, right? So we've got so many things now, social media things, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And then we've got these new ones, Clubhouse, TikTok, which not many people are on these days just because they're so new and foreign to us, I think. But yeah, for me, these were some of the motivators that said, like, I think it's really important to kind of expand your reach related to recruiting and the tools that we use and how we actually attract the attention of candidates in the market. Okay, so now what I want to do is, I don't know if many people have seen this, but I'm going to share a different screen here. So what I'm going to do, this is just kind of a short video of, some of the things that are pertinent about employer branding and talent attraction. This is something that we posted about a year ago, but I think a lot of these things are still relevant. So these are just general facts about employer branding and talent attraction. So that's basically just some statistics that I thought were quite relevant to branding. I mean, definitely video. I'm a big fan of video. I mean, there's a lot of different kind of employer branding going on, but we still rely heavily, I think too heavily in Japan, on text or articles. And there are a lot of good publications out there that have pictures and text, and Wantedly is doing that. But I do think there's a big need in Japan in particular for more video and really showing, the human side of the people in your organization. And that's really what we're trying to do at Motionworks is try and help companies produce that stuff. So, just to give you a little taste of what is possible in branding and what other companies are doing globally. This one, so I wanted to do now is kind of take a step back and not talk so much and let some of the employer branding videos speak for themselves. So I'm going to show you a series of short employer branding videos. And I wanted to get your feedback and input into this. So the first one is for the New Zealand police force, where they're trying to attract new police candidates for their police force, which is kind of interesting. SodaStream, which I think a lot of people know about, which is a carbonated water machine and bottle company. And they have some interesting employer branding videos that they came out with. And the last one that I'm going to show is abcam, which is a bit different from the other two that I'm going to show you. That's a life science company out of the UK. So yeah, this is more for entertaining purposes and to keep you a little engaged in the webinar today. But 2 to 3 minutes in length, and I'm just going to play them straight through. But while you're watching them, we'll evaluate them a bit afterwards. But I just want to get your impression of what's the impact that these have, and what are the good things and bad things of these videos for employer branding. So you may have to adjust your volume. Sorry, the YouTube things, the sound can be a bit on or off, but I'm going to go ahead and play this now. Hopefully that gray box is out of the way. Okay.
We want New Zealand to be the safest country in the world, but we can't do it without your help.
New Zealand police are looking for new recruits who can make a real difference.
Those who care about others and their communities.
On the grind, got 'em running around looking for me all night. Oh yeah.
We need individuals who want to be part of a strong team.
Cheers.
When you join the police, you'll be trained with skills to keep you and others safe. Receive a good starting salary. And
Like underwater business. Or youth work. Or police commissioner stuff.
We want fit New Zealanders. Woo, not that fit. Those who like to be active and willing to train and learn.
so what's holding you back?
Oh, it's just a tire tied to my waist with a bit of rope.
Yeah, I didn't mean it there literally. I was just asking the question.
What?
You kind of just ruined my flow now. There was supposed to be a big build-up, and now we have to go over this whole section again.
Who's we? Oh, okay.
Billy.
Drop it.
Do you care enough to be a cop? Take the first step and visit newcops.co.nz.
But we can't do it without your help.
Oh, where's the camera? Do I say it to this camera?
Yeah.
You didn't. I meant.
Okay, so yeah, in general, interesting video, I thought, quite impactful in a few different ways. But what I thought the takeaways for this one was, what made this effective is, one, it really breaks up the stereotype of what people think a police officer in New Zealand actually does. Obviously, they use humor as well, but it's kind of interesting that it shows their human side and what the people are actually doing that work for the police force there. And it identifies, a career path, right? So it actually specifies the types of roles that are available there. And it does, it uses real employees and shows the diversity that they have there, you know. So I just thought that was a good one to show. Let me go back to another one. And the next one is for SodaStream. And again.
At SodaStream, we not only make great sparkling water, but we also help save the planet from plastic waste. With one reusable bottle, we can save a family up to 3,000 disposable bottles every year. Now that's a revolution. We're rainmakers. She's a rainmaker.
I'm an accountant.
He's a rainmaker.
I'm a lawyer. We've just been sued by Coke. Again.
We're growing so fast, we're looking for new talent. People who can move mountains. The first thing a SodaStreamer needs is a creative mind. You want to see creativity? Look at Milos. Milos figured out a creative way to carry all these SodaStream machines. The second thing you need when you work at SodaStream is a sense of urgency. When you work here, you need to be able to move fast and always stay alert. The most important thing we're looking for is business courage. Here at SodaStream, we love taking risks. And yeah, sometimes we'll fail.
Do not fail.
We embrace failure.
Блять.
We're a family of 3,000 people from all religions and nationalities working side by side in peace and coexistence. So if you're creative, if you're fast, brave, and optimistic, you belong with us here at SodaStream, the #1 sparkling water brand in the world. So come join the revolution and let's make the world a better place. Milos, nice job today.
Daniel, I think I deserve a raise.
Mr. Mountain, he wants a raise.
Okay, so a bit interesting, a little different. Obviously, much bigger budget that they had for this one. Obviously, showcasing the mountain, and he's probably not that cheap to afford on that. But again, what I really liked about this is that you know, some of the same things on there. So it is involving the CEO, which, you know, shows his kind of sense of humor and how he, you know, manages the people in the company. And it's a real work environment, which is also good. And it highlights, you know, what the company is about. You know, it clearly states its mission, values, and diversity, which is good. And it, you know, identifies the type of people, you know, that they're actually looking for. So they actually specify and list the type of people that they want, which I think is really good, because it hopefully would eliminate people that don't, you know, resonate with those kind of qualities. So I in general, I thought it was good. Now, obviously, this is quite a large production, and most companies can't actually do those things. So I wanted to give one example of what is very possible, and what I think Abcam did with their recent employer branding and recruitment video. And this one has a little background story, but I'll explain the background a little later. Share that. So this one was actually posted on LinkedIn. Sorry, hang on. From Nick Lindsay, who is the TA business partner at Abcam in the UK. And I just thought this was really well done. So it's so simple, but it's very different from the other ones that we watched. So
We are looking for a talent acquisition partner to join Abcam. But who are we?
We're Abcam.
an innovation mashup between digital technology and life science research.
And where technology meets life science is where we get really excited. We've tripled in size over the last 5 years and continue to grow at an exciting rate. What's more is that we were voted the 3rd best place to work in the UK by Glassdoor, something that we're really proud of. What does a talent acquisition partner do at abcam?
As a TA partner, you will play a critical role in the success of our ambitious growth plan by identifying and introducing the best talent to abcam.
We will contribute to our game-changing TA projects to be ahead of the curve.
To mention a few, we're shaping how we engage with a global diverse talent pool, implementing technologies to empower us to deliver the best talent, and partnering with inspiring, forward-thinking leaders.
You'll ultimately play a critical role in helping life scientists to achieve their mission faster. But why do we love it here?
I love that at abcam, people are at the heart of everything we do.
I love that I can balance my work and my personal interests.
I love the development opportunities I've had over the last 4 years, and I've really grown to appreciate the flexibility we're given because I get to spend time with my kids as well as not missing out on career opportunities.
I love that everything that we do has an underlying purpose.
I love that we are a truly global business where everyone is welcome and can bring their whole self to work.
I love that I had opportunities to grow both internally and internationally.
I love our stunning working environment.
I love that abcam is rapidly growing and driven by transformation and innovation, and a place where you can make pacey decisions that drive true impact.
We're all growing at abcam, and not just the size of our families. Why don't you join us and you can grow too?
Okay. So yeah, I just thought this was interesting, and even Nick, admitted in disclaimer, we're not experienced video creators, but we're just looking to find the best talent. And I just thought this really resonated. It was very, very genuine, very pure, and it really made a lot of sense. And the background story of this is actually, when I saw it, as a video person, I was like, wow, there's so many things wrong with this. But actually, after I saw it, it was really impactful. It was very simple. It was very genuine. So I actually reached out to Alan, the CEO at abcam, and I said, wow, that's as a video guy, there's so many things wrong with that. But what I really liked is that you guys actually just did it. And he actually replied like the next day, and which again, you're creating that engagement. And also the fact that the CEO even replied was a big statement, right? And it just shows what kind of company it is. And even Nick as well was very happy to share insight on the video. So we really appreciate abcam for doing that. But I just thought this is something that pretty much any company can do. If they can do it, and they're a big company, they've got much they've created a lot of videos themselves, and much bigger budgets than these. But I just thought this was a really simple approach to branding and what they're trying to do. So some of the reasons why this is good, on top of what I mentioned, is that this was only for the TA team, right? So they're looking to hire people just for the talent acquisition team. But it did involve the CEO, and obviously he gave the green light to go ahead and do this, and he was even a part of it, which says a lot. And it does show that you can make an employer branding video on a very low budget, but with high impact. And if you noticed, obviously all of these people were from different locations, right? So especially during the COVID times, how do you actually pull something like that off? Well, that's how you do it. So it was quite genuine, and it shows the type of people, and everyone was part of the global TA team there. So I just thought that was really a good attempt at an employer branding video. And who knows, I'm assuming that they got something. I'll probably follow up with Nick and see if they got people to apply to that. But in general, that's the what you can accomplish with employer branding. So moving on to some of the challenges. So I posted this the other day of like, what are the 6 top challenges of employer branding in Japan. And what I wanted to ask you, and this is maybe even you can put it into the chat if you want, but I'll give everyone a few seconds to chat what you actually think are some of the challenges, or even for you, what do you think is your #1 challenge? So yeah, if you can just chat in the box or just have a mental thought of what it is. So okay, a couple of decent responses there. Okay, interesting enough. All right, so for me, some of the challenges that I think that I've come across, and these are particular for Japan. So these are actually ones that I've actually spoken to companies, existing companies, as well as potential companies in the market. This is back since 2018 or 19 when we started. And what most people say is, that getting started is the hardest part. And I would agree with that. And getting started actually is referring to, one, just the fact that you actually need it. Like, do we really need employer branding? Do we really need to make videos? Do we really need to do this? On to like, yeah, we know we need it, but how do we go about doing it? So I think that's the biggest challenge for a lot of people, is actually just getting started. And then the next hardest thing is if you decide to do that, then you get internal buy-in. And that can often be, the next biggest challenge. So even if you are a CEO and a decision maker, getting buy-in from other people in your organization to actually take part in it is one thing. And let's say you're somebody like Nick, who's just a TA team member or in charge of a team, and to get your superiors and colleagues involved in it and to get buy-in is huge, right? So I think those two make up almost 50% of the challenge right there. And then I think the third one is really a lot of people don't have the capacity to do it. Like they only have a few people, or they don't have a marketing team or something like that. So that's the other thing that comes across, is that we just don't have the skills and talent to do it. We don't have anyone for that particular role, or we just don't have any time to work on it. Then you get into budget issues. So, once you get through all of the getting started buy-in and the skills gap, then the budget comes across. And obviously there are a range of budgets, but getting approval to get the budget and actually the amount of budget and how long you can get it is the other battle. But the biggest thing is, even if you get through all of those, being consistent is super difficult. And I think some of the people that are in this webinar today who have actually done it, and some of the companies that we're highlighting, it's super difficult to be consistent. Even for myself, it's really time consuming and consistent to do that. So that's why we really make an effort to help companies be consistent in their branding messages. And then other factors down at the bottom is, those could be things like internal politics. For example, oh, that's not my job, it's HR's job, or that's TA's job, or that's this recruiter's job or something. So a lot of finger pointing, a lot of politics, or just in general, things like obviously COVID now, right? Everyone's remote, those kind of things come up. So in general, yeah, from my experience, that's what I've found to be the biggest challenges for most companies here. Okay, so now what I wanted to do is shift over to what some of the companies that I'm working with and some of the companies that I have relationships with are actually doing here in Japan to to really push the employer branding initiatives. And I just thought, I mean, there are many other companies that obviously I don't have time to list, but these were just a few that I have relationships with and that I've worked with that I feel have really done a good job of branding initiatives. So I wanted to show you, a sample of what they've been doing. I think some of them are on the call today, but we probably don't have time to go through and chat with everyone. But okay, so the first one is Focus Core. I think. Okay, first one is Focus Core. David Sweet is the managing director of Focus Core, which is a recruiting agency in Tokyo. And David's done a really nice job with his consistency. He's knocked out a lot of these videos, and his approach really is two sides. One is the candidate. So he's creating videos to show candidates how to do things, so interview processes, those kind of things. And then he's also working with catering to the client side and, coming out with videos to help clients brand themselves better as well. So I just thought this was a good approach that David's trying to do there. And I'll just show you a quick sample of some of the stuff that he's doing here. Again, I'm just going to adjust the volume a bit, so be careful.
Welcome to Short and Sweet, Selling Your Company. Years ago, I had a candidate with an offer at Morgan Stanley. Wonderful company, top-tier investment bank, well-known, great offer. But he went home and told his family about the offer, and actually his in-laws had never heard of Morgan Stanley. For that reason, he needed to say no thank you to the offer and went and took a Japanese company instead. Japan has a rich history and people really respect Japanese companies. And for that reason, if you're a foreign SME, need to move away from the paradigm that why should we hire you to what can we do to hire you into our company. What you need to do when you're competing against a Japanese company or bigger companies is you need to leverage your company's strength.
Okay, so again, he's catering to some of the clients that he's working with and helping them promote themselves in there. So I just thought it was a good initiative to focus on the candidate side as well as the client side to help. The next company that I want to talk about is Wahl+Case. And Wahl+Case also has done a really good job with creating a lot of good content for both clients as well as highlighting their team, which I think is important as well. And what they've done is, this one is in particular about one of their clients that they're highlighting. And it really shows, one, they already have somebody internal that's doing this. So, they have the workforce and the skills to do these videos. But then they also have highlight their own consultants as well. So I'll just share one.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Marcel. I came from Indonesia. I arrived in Japan around 4 years ago. And the reason I came to Japan is because I think Japan is such an easy place to live in. And there's so much fun things that you can do here in Japan. As a hobby, I play football every week. And also I'm a diehard Liverpool fan, and I play FIFA games every single night as well. And in Wahl+Case, I specialize in client-facing engineer positions. So there's positions such as like technical support or like product managers. So if you're an engineer and if you're thinking of like switching your careers more into like client-facing technical positions, feel free to shoot me a message on LinkedIn, and I'll be more happy to help you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, so again, I thought it was really good to highlight the new employees joining, which a lot of companies, I think, especially recruiting agencies, are afraid to do, right? Because maybe they leave or whatever, right? But I just think it was really nice of Wahl+Case to highlight their people, and it also shows your candidates who these guys are. It puts a human side to it. So that was good. This is another one where they are highlighting
an
one of their
emergency
clients.
situation.
Yeah.
In order to retain GDP and avoid this digital cliff, Japan must engage in digital transformation.
Yeah, so I'm here with Evan Burkowski, Country Manager of Dynamic Yield, as we've mentioned before, but then also you've added a couple new titles that I want to touch on a little bit. First is you're a board member of TEL. Do you want to talk a little bit maybe about what TEL is, just so our audience knows?
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. So TEL is the Tokyo English Lifeline. It's a suicide prevention hotline for the international community, as well as mental health clinic services. It is the premier provider of these services in Japan.
Nice.
And I have been honored to be able to join the board and try to help with things like, well, actually their digital transformation is where I'm trying to help right now. So that's where I can bring my skill set.
That's awesome. And that leads.
All right. So again, they're putting efforts into helping their clients brand themselves as well and what they're doing in the market. So Chad Lafferty and his team over at Wahl+Case, I think have done a really good job with pushing the branding stuff, and it's good quality stuff as well. So kudos to them. The next company that I want to talk about is Talisman. And they also, I recently had a conversation with the president there, and he is really making a great effort to show his people and what they're doing. So they are making videos, not only pitching jobs, but also highlighting their consultants and what they're doing. And I just like the fact that he's actually involved with some of the the people in this video. Sorry, let me.
Again for the journey.
So Fumio Moriochi is the president and owner of Talisman, and he's really spearheading with his team the branding initiatives there at the company, and he's interviewing each of his consultants on what they do and some different parts of it. And this is a particular one that he's interviewing one of his consultants regarding language.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, please go on.
So to kind of first give you some background about me, I did study Japanese when I was in high school and in university. And then I came here in Japan in 2013. So I've been living here for 9 years now. But for those of you that don't know any Japanese, it's completely okay. I would say the most important thing that you can work on would be your facial expressions. So if you're sad or angry, also with your hands to try to gesture a lot, it will be easier for you to try to help someone understand what you're saying. Yeah.
All right. So again, he's really done a nice job with, Okay. So, going back to the consistency part, I had to give credit to Fumio for doing this. He's been doing this for about a year, and he's really been experimenting with a lot of things. And he told me in a phone call the other day that one thing he realizes is with COVID and all of his staff being quite remote all over Japan, this gave him an opportunity to actually engage with his own employees, right? So on top of that, he's doing branding, but it's also engaging. So you don't have to have the internal one-on-ones. These count as those one-on-ones and also count as branding. So I just thought that was a good twist that I think a lot of companies could be doing as well. And the last company that I want to highlight is Randstad. I've been working with them for quite some time. And they're really doing a good job with their employer branding initiatives internally for hiring, as well as working with their clients on employer branding. And these are some of the videos that we've been working with them lately with. And they had a really good strategy. They started out focusing on the new grads and new hires, and then also highlighting some of the executive and team level managers in the company, which I think is super important as well. So that people see that transparency of who they're going to be working with. So these were some good examples of that. I'll just show you quickly of one of the ones that we did with for the new grads. highlighting the new people. So I really like that they're taking
I'm
risks.
Pei and I'm an associate consultant at Tech 16.
Hello, my name is Giselle. I'm associate consultant for Tech 3, covering internal IT.
Hi, my name is Yukinobu Saito. I work for Tech 1.
Hi, my name is Yuma Mekaru, and I am associate consultant at Tech 4, where I support software engineers and backend engineers at Tech 4.
I was studying abroad, so I was studying in China and Korea during my past 3 years as a student at the University of Tokyo. So personally, job hunting was way easier with COVID, given that everything can be done online.
All right. So again, I think they did a really good job with putting emphasis on their new grads that they're hiring and also the new hires that they had. And also with their management team as well. They had a lot of senior level people and how they progressed in their career progression in the company as well. Yoko Takahashi is one of those.
My name is Yoko. I'm Associate Director in Technology team. I'm also a working mother with 2 kids. I used to live in Canada for 9 years. So when I joined Randstad, actually, I wasn't thinking to change the job that I was pretty happy where I was. But after meeting Hagi-san, Cameron, and Paul, it was something that really excited me, new challenge, and then autonomy was something that I didn't have. So I'm okay, maybe I should give a try and then see how much I can achieve at Randstad. And I'm very happy that I joined Randstad. I'm happy every day for the job that I do, and then actually the part that I really like is what I do makes my clients and candidates really happy. They appreciate what I did, so that keeps me motivated working here, and I really like working at Randstad.
Okay, so again, I just think their initiative was quite good. They did the video series, which was good. Recently, they've also been doing posting. Everyone in the company has been posting about their work-life balance and what they've been doing. So there's so many levels of what you can do with employer branding. Yeah. So going back, I just think these companies have done a really good job with giving ideas to what's possible. And again, going back to this chart, I think everyone's going to have their own challenges, and each company has their own challenges, right? But I do think that starting is very important, and getting over the hump of how to get started, right? So I want to just end on some points of how you can get started in your own organizations. I don't know how advanced your employer branding is. Maybe it's 0. Maybe you've started some things, but it's not going the way you want. But in general, this is just my general pointers of how you can get it started with employer branding. And I think for starters, it's just getting so difficult to just get your alone time by yourself to just think. So I think for starters, that's the biggest thing is find a place to just go and think, go to a park somewhere and really think about what your organization needs to really build an employer branding and talent acquisition or talent attraction program there and initiatives. And obviously it helps to have a goal in mind. So some of the companies that we're working with, they have a goal of some of huge goals, right? They want to hire 150 people by the end of Q4 or something. And that's huge. And honestly, the only way you can do that is with really strategic employer branding initiatives. Others are more conservative. Maybe they only want to hire 4 or 5 people, or they want to build up a specific team, or even for specific positions that are hard to fill. It's a good idea to figure out what your goal is and then build around that. And look at what's available, right? I mean, I'm not saying you have to reinvent the wheel, but I do think there are legacy models that we unfortunately are still relying on because it's the only thing that's there. And things like, just stagnant job posting and job boards are, kind of my pet peeve. And that's where I'm really trying to help companies find what works and what doesn't with our existing tools. And if the ones really aren't working, consider other options or how to replace them. And I think employer branding is a good way to replace some of those. And again, make sure the pain points and the challenges that you're going to face doing that. So regardless of what level you are in the company, whether you're a company owner or whether you're just an individual contributor, if you want to get these initiatives started, make sure what you're up against and your challenges. And again, as mentioned before, try to get internal buy-in. I think this is huge, and especially now, it's probably even more difficult to do this with COVID and just being remote and not in the office. You can't have those water cooler chats anymore. So just ping people and start, throwing around ideas with your colleagues or your supervisors. And the biggest thing is, take risks. Just do it. I mean, look at the abcam. It's a classic example, right? Like just pick up your phone, ask everyone to do a quick blurb and see what happens, right? I mean, there is a risk to it, but it's not that big of a risk. And I think a bigger risk is not doing it. So, that's what we try to do, is lower the risk, but you need to take some risk. So for example, coffee for closers, if any of you guys are interested, I'm happy to do a coffee for closers segment, just to get a taste of branding. And that's what we're trying to do. So even those little ones, you have to take risks and explore new ideas of those. So in general, those are my 6 tips on how to get started with employer branding and talent attraction. So again, thanks for watching. Hope this was engaging for you. And hopefully you got some takeaways from it. So for those of you that are still watching and could attend, thank you very much for taking time on your Friday. Again, please subscribe to some of our channels. And also, please take a look at supporting our charities and helping out Brent with his battle if you can. And yeah, stay tuned for more great content from Motionworks and the team here. And yeah, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or if you have any specific things that you want related to branding. But anyway, thanks again for watching, and we will see you again in the next episode. So have a good weekend, and thanks again for watching. And we